Arizona sports. Breaking news.
All right, Rick, what do you got?
All right, guys, as you just heard in my update, Chris B. Haynes, NBA insider, says that James Jones is departing the Phoenix Suns to replace Joe Dumars at the NBA office to become the league's new executive vice president and head of basketball operations. His role will be enforcing playing rules and interpretations, conduct and discipline, and policies and procedures. And he was recently transitioned from GM to senior advisor, as we know, and now he is just no longer with the Suns.
Wow. Well, I was kind of wondering, actually, randomly yesterday, if there was going to be news on him at some point, because remember, there was all that talk that his contract just runs out at the end of June. So is he back with the organization, or where is he going? And there you go. He's going to the league.
This is called falling up, not falling down. This is great. I'm happy for James Jones. I always have appreciated James Jones and his approach to being a general manager. More times than not, he always seemed to remember that he was a player at one point in time, and that player always seemed to help him be a better general manager. To me, at least. Now, again, this is just me looking from the outside in, but I appreciate the team that James Jones put together that allowed the Suns to get to the finals and win the first two games. I still can't even believe it.
Yeah.
The first two games, win the first two games of the finals and lose to the Bucks.
Yeah, I wonder how Suns fans will now think of the James Jones era, because it's a very complicated one, right? Like, he gets here right after. I mean, he was here, but he wasn't the GM when they took DA over Luka. I mean, they took him over SGA too, but that wasn't really a debate at the time, to be fair. It was DA or Luka. Then he's here, and I would argue, when you're talking about people that were instrumental in their turnaround, going from team that couldn't make the playoffs ever to team that is 2 games away from winning the NBA title, whatever order you want to put him in, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, Monty Williams, but James Jones has to be in that conversation. He was NBA Executive of the Year. He did a lot of things really well. I obviously, and a lot of people, didn't like the miss on Tyrese Halliburton, but he also did a ton of things right that, like, we wouldn't have gotten right. You know what I mean? Every GM misses on a pick every once in a while. And then the stuff from the last 2 years, obviously the direction of the team has gone horribly wrong, but we don't know how much of that was James Jones. So it's a really complicated era to try to evaluate.
Can I tell you guys what I will always remember about him here?
Yes.
When Josh Jackson did not show up to that appearance at Fry's that he was supposed to show up to, so James Jones was out there handing out free beer to the Phoenix Suns fans.
Yes, it's a very specific moment, but it
was an iconic moment in that 10-year run of the Suns not being great. But anyway, what do you guys think this says about the Suns organization that he's leaving?
Well, for me, you've got a king that is deposed. That's what it was. He was the general manager of this team, and he no longer is the general manager of this team. And because of that, even though the Suns, it's an amicable split, I believe, but I think we all saw this coming at some point in time.
I'm torn on this, because a lot of times when you get new ownership, everybody, trust me, as somebody who worked for the Coyotes for a while and they got new ownership every 7 minutes, when you get new ownership, it's like, wait a minute, so is anybody's job safe? Anybody, right? So this happened a couple years after Matt Ishbia came in. I mean, James Jones was still the GM the last couple years. I would love to know how many of these big decisions, the Kevin Durant trade, the Bradley Beal trade, some of these, how many of them were James Jones still, because they didn't fall in line with other decisions we saw him make before ownership changed. But also, previous ownership wasn't willing to spend any money. So it's like, how much did that impact it, right? But I just don't think James Jones is the sort of guy that's ever going to go on a podcast now and spill all the information. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem like he's that guy.
He doesn't seem like he's that kind of guy. You're right about that. But can I just say, I this is going to come out at some point in time. You know,
Is it?
Yeah, it is. You don't think so?
I don't know. I tend to agree because the stuff always comes out.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out who would talk about it.
Yeah, the old saying goes this way, Basinonians. 3 people can keep a secret if 2 of them are dead. Now, once again, it's an old mafia saying that they talk about.
Metaphorically speaking.
Right. I'm not talking about. That sounded bad, didn't it? But it's the truth.
It just really kind of raised the level of the show, is what it
It's
did.
the truth. And, you know, listen, I at some point in time, we're going to get little pieces of information that's going to come out here because it's human nature that it's going to be. If James Jones was against the Kevin Durant acquisition, if he was against that, that definitely will come out. Ron Wolfley reported. If he was against the Bradley Beal, at some point in time, he's going to leak that information.
So you're saying it'll come from him?
From him.
Okay.
Yes. Maybe it doesn't. Because again, I'm saying if he was against it, because it didn't work.
Yeah, it really is like a tough thing to. We all look at it and we're like, well, he didn't want to make trades like this, and then Matt Ishbia is here, and 9 hours later they're trading the future for Kevin Durant, and so that looks a certain way. And I tend to believe the new owner came in, and I've said before, if I was the new owner and I could get Kevin Durant, I would have been probably doing the same thing. But we never got any confirmation for sure one way or the other, like who was calling the shots for those 2 years, because there is something to be said for previous ownership really didn't spend any money. So James Jones had to be a different general manager, the previous regime. And it was actually working pretty well because they went to the NBA Finals. So now this is really weird, too, because if he works for the league, he's almost like the Suns are going to have to deal with him.
Yeah.
From an entirely different perspective now.
I know, it's awesome. But, you know, once again, this makes me happy because obviously James Jones, we all know, was out. He was on his way out. He was on his way out the door for the Phoenix Suns. And now to actually work for the league and take over for Joe Dumars, I love that. This is a situation where he's falling up instead of falling down.
If he is enforcing playing rules and interpretations, conduct, and discipline, is there a way he can go back and reverse that Amari Stoudemire, Boris Diaw suspension that never should have happened? Can we, if we have our guy in
That's
there now,
good.
can he at least kind of rewrite some history?
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.